fellas, this is Vince Miller. Thank you so much for joining me for this devotional. Today we're in Daniel chapter 5. I'm going to read verses 10 through 12. The last time we were together, we left off with King Belshazzar having this big, wild, massive party in the palace until he saw a vision of a hand scribing a statement on the wall. And this terrifies him for a couple of reasons. First, because, well, there was a hand writing on the wall, just a hand. And secondly, because no one can interpret what it's writing. But his wife walks into the party to calm him down and presents a possible solution. And here it is in Daniel 5, 10 through 12. The queen, because of the words of the king and his lords, came into the banquet hall. Obviously, she's sober. And the queen declared, "O king, live forever. Let not your thoughts alarm you or your color change. There's a man in your kingdom in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. In the days of your father," this is referring to King Nebuchadnezzar, "light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of the gods, were found in him. And King Nebuchadnezzar, your father, the king, made him chief of the magicians, enchanters, and Chaldeans, and astrologers." In other words, he's way smarter than all these other people. "Because an excellent spirit of knowledge and understanding to interpret dreams, explain riddles, and solve problems were found in this Daniel, in whom the king named Belteshazzar," very similar to his name. "Now let Daniel be called, and he will show the interpretation." So let's remember, 2 decades have passed since Nebuchadnezzar was actually leading the empire. A few monarchs made a go of it, but each left the empire in increasing chaos, by the way. And then the 4th monarch, Nabonidus, did his best to restore the empire's former glory, but the issue was he didn't live in the great city of Babylonia. So he leaves his son, Belshazzar, in charge, who acts like a spoiled, rotten brat of a son. This should be a familiar story, should it not? This happens all the time. Just think about it for a moment. When did this happen last? Have we seen it happen? Are we seeing it happen in our country? But during these 2 decades, Daniel gets lost in the shuffle of the monarchs. A man who was once center stage in Babylonia is now nowhere to be found. He's not even invited to the party of the 1,000. But the queen hasn't forgotten. I mean, she knows Daniel, maybe because she's sober. So a couple of highlights here. So first, I think sometimes younger generations will forget. They'll get lost in seeking pleasure and pursuing entitlement and become detached from the past, from history. This is the nature sometimes of young men. They'll want to try their hand at leadership, but fail to seek mentors or blatantly reject mentors, and then get lost in doing things their way. That's a little bit the case here with Belshazzar. But second, this is also an opportunity for wise men, isn't it? It's an opportunity for older men to interject themselves into the process. But to do this, we got to go public with our faith. Fellas, our faith is a very personal matter. I get it. But it is not a private matter. It is a public matter. And we need to live it out and talk it out publicly. You know, the world wants us to keep our beliefs about our faith a very personal matter and never talk about them in the public arena. But Daniel never did this. He never did it when he was 15. He didn't do it when he was 30. And right here when he's 70, he doesn't do it either. And this is why the queen remembers who he was and calls on him in her husband's time of need. She knows that Daniel has an answer because he had one before, because he was never private about his faith. So if you're an older man listening today, I need you to know this. You need to get out there and interject yourself and your faith into the present generation. And guess what? You need to do it publicly, because we need you right now more than ever. I love you guys. I pray this blesses you today. I pray you'll share this with someone that you know and love, because you can't be private about it, right? With that, fellas, I'll see you right back here again tomorrow.